All right, let's jump right into a really interesting and, let's be honest, kind of frustrating idea, the intelligence trap. We're going to talk about why some of the smartest, most analytical people out there can actually become their own worst enemies, getting totally stuck in their own heads while the world just keeps moving.
You've seen this happen, right? Maybe you've even felt it yourself. You have these brilliant people who can see every single angle of a problem, every possible outcome, but when it's time to actually do something, they're completely frozen. You'd think being smart is the ultimate superpower, but sometimes it feels more like a cage.
So if you've ever felt that mental paralysis, just trapped in an endless loop of what ifs, you are definitely not alone. It's a super common pattern. And hey, if this explainer gives you a little clarity, we'd love it if you'd consider subscribing for more deep dives just like this one.
And that brings us to the core idea here, the intelligence paradox. It's basically that your intelligence is a double-edged sword. That amazing brain that lets you map out a dozen different strategies and spot potential problems, well, that's the exact same brain that can lock you in place. Your greatest strength can, without you even realizing it, become your biggest roadblock.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. First up, let's look at the specific mental traps that really smart people seem to fall into more than others. This is where that self-sabotage really starts to take hold.
The big one, the classic, is paralysis by analysis. You know this one. Instead of just moving forward, you get stuck in this loop of weighing pros and cons, gathering more and more data, always looking for that one perfect, totally risk-free solution that, let's be real, almost never actually exists.
And you see this show up as an obsession with getting things perfect, because your mind can picture 1,000 ways something could go wrong, or 100 ways it could be better. You end up procrastinating on the really important stuff. You'd rather just not do it than risk putting out something that's good, but not absolutely flawless. Now this slide is so important. It really draws a line in the sand between what feels like progress and what is actual progress. A lot of intelligent people kind of get addicted to the comfort of thinking, reading one more book, analyzing one more spreadsheet. It feels productive, right? But it's often just an illusion. Real progress only kicks in when you cross over into doing, into writing, executing, testing, and just starting.
So, what's really driving all this overthinking? I mean, if you dig down deep beneath all those layers of analysis, it almost always comes down to one really powerful emotion: fear.
And this fear, it wears a lot of different masks. There's that internal pressure, right? The fear of not living up to your own sky-high expectations. Then there's the external fear of other people judging you. And then there are two huge ones: the paralyzing fear of making the wrong choice, and that classic FOMO, the fear of missing out on all the other options you didn't pick. Which brings us to this idea, the paradox of choice. Because a really sharp mind can imagine so many different potential futures. Committing to just one of them can feel like a massive loss. It's like you're killing off all those other potential versions of your life. And this leads to this chronic indecision, where in an effort to keep every single door open, you never actually walk through any of them.
And this quote from Carl Jung, man, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the mental shift we need to make. All that knowledge you have, if you don't act on it, it's just stored energy. It's a nice, safe shield, but it doesn't change anything. The whole point is to shift our identity away from just knowing things and towards doing things.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we break out of this cycle of thinking and fearing? Let's talk about the path to action.
Now, the solution here is not to dumb yourself down or to stop thinking so much. No way. The real answer is to completely change your relationship with action. It's all about learning to move forward even with the uncertainty and embracing the messy, sometimes clumsy, but totally necessary art of imperfect action. This means we have to completely reframe what failure even means. It's not some final judgment on your intelligence. It's just data. It's a lesson. Edison didn't see a mountain of failures. He saw thousands of steps in a process. The people who really accomplish things aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who learn from it, way faster than everybody else. And this is so key. You can't think your way to being great at something. Confidence, new skills, real success, those are all byproducts of just doing the thing. You can't read 100 cookbooks and become a great chef. You gotta get in the kitchen and burn some stuff. Growth only happens when you're in motion. So, let's get tactical. Let's make this real. Here are 5 concrete, practical tools you can start using like today to break that mental spiral and pull yourself out of the overthinking loop.
We're going to walk through each of these pretty quickly. Naming the fear, the 80% rule, shrinking the thought, setting a deadline, and externalizing your brain. Think of each one as a circuit breaker for your overactive mind. First up, name the fear. See, overthinking loves vague, undefined dread. It thrives on it. So you have to get specific. Ask yourself, what is the worst-case scenario that I am actually afraid of here? Maybe it's that a coworker will think your idea is silly. Okay, now your analytical brain has a real problem to solve, not just this infinite cloud of anxiety to get lost in. Okay, now for our second tool. I just want you to focus on this number for a second. It's not 100, it's 80. And believe it or not, this number is your ticket out of the perfectionism trap. This is the 80% rule. Instead of asking yourself, is this perfect? Ask, is this 80% good enough to move forward? Is that presentation 80% ready? Is that email 80% clear? That simple question gives your brain permission to stop. It's a signal that says, hey, good enough, let's go. Third, shrink the thought. This one's like a little brain hack. When a task feels huge, like write a whole business plan, your brain's red alarm goes off. The antidote is to shrink it down. Ask, what's the absolute tiniest next 2-minute step I can take? Not write the report, but open a new document and type a title. It bypasses the fear and just gets you moving. Next up, use deadlines as your friend. Thinking will expand to fill whatever time you give it, so don't give it infinite time. Just say to yourself, okay, I'm giving myself exactly 5 minutes to think about this, and then I will make a decision. This creates a container and forces your brain to switch from what-if mode into let's do this mode. And finally, externalize your brain. This is a big one. Your mind is for having ideas, not for holding them. All those swirling thoughts, worries, and to-do lists, get them out of your head. Write them down, put them in a notes app, whatever. The moment your brain trusts that that information is stored somewhere safe, it lets go, freeing up a ton of mental energy. So in the end, maybe we need to redefine what it really means to be smart. It's not just about how well you can analyze something or how deep your insights are. Maybe the true test of a sharp mind is the courage to act, even when you're not sure. To use that incredible brain not as a reason to hesitate, but as the ultimate tool for living a bolder life.